Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. So today, I want to talk about something that's going on with me this week. So I just made a really big investment in myself and in my business this week. And when you're making a big investment, it's kind of like jumping over that comfort zone or jumping outside of that comfort zone or getting outside of that terror barrier. And one thing that I've noticed is that every time I've made a big investment in myself, ever since I started my first business, ever since I was 19, every time I do something scary and I take a big leap and I get outside of my comfort zone, something huge happens and comes from it. So I'm going to share with you a little bit how to have faith in yourself when you're making a big investment. And one of the things that I always tell myself, if it's a business investment, is I can make it back, I can make it back, I can make it back. And remembering that there's an unlimited supply of money out there. There's an unlimited amount of abundance out there. And for me, when I'm making a big investment, I remember, do I want this experience, right? Is this important for me to have? Is this important for me to learn this thing or be able to do this thing, right? So as you guys are coming in, say hello, leave me a comment, let me know that you are here. And I'm just going to get right into it. So first, when I was about 19, I think, years old, I had this little inkling inside of me that I wanted to be a stylist. I had been reading magazines forever, just had piles and piles and piles of Vogues. And I knew deep down in my heart at that time that I wanted to be a stylist. And I had no connections. I didn't know anyone in the field. I had never done photography anymore. I'd never worked in fashion before. But I knew that was what I was supposed to do. And it's so funny now because looking back, I learned so much from that, but I'm so happy that I did. I'm so happy that I took that leap in myself. And so what I did was I knew that I wanted to be a stylist, but I didn't know where I was going to start. So what I did was I looked at people who were in the position that I wanted to be in. So people who are successful stylists who are styling for Vogue, and I reverse engineered it, what they did. And I recognized that every successful stylist had a portfolio, right? So I knew that I needed to have a portfolio. And so what I did was I figured it out, and I figured out, well, I needed to beautiful photos, and I needed to understand Photoshop. I needed to get a website out there, right? And so I was 19 years old, had no money, had no resources, no connection, no proof that it would ever work out for me. I invested in a MacBook Pro, which at the time was pretty much investing $1 million because I did not have the money. I put it on a credit card, and I remember being so afraid, so scared, but knowing deep down in my heart that this was the experience that I was meant to have, and that once I did it, I would be successful. I had faith in myself. So I went ahead and I did it, and it was scary, but I just promised myself, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen. And if I don't do it, I'm going to be mad at myself for doing it. But if I do it, at least I'll know that I had tried. So I went all in. I did my first photo shoot on myself. I bought a secondhand camera. I bought the MacBook Pro. I taught myself Photoshop. I taught myself how to get a website up. And I got a website online. I don't even know how. I was using Dreamweaver, which is super old school. And a few weeks later, I got a random email from somebody who somehow found me online. I don't even know. I feel like people are still using Ask Jeeves and not even using Google. But someone found me online, and my very first gig that I got paid $600. And for 19-year-old me, getting paid that much was I honestly felt like I was going to be a millionaire. And it's really just having that faith in yourself that you can do it. And then years later, I got out of styling. I realized that as much as I wearing fashion, it wasn't my full passion to do that, because I felt like I wanted to do so much more. I felt like I wanted to really help people with their self-image rather than, their physical image of clothes, right? Which is kind of what led me into what I'm doing now. And so again, I knew when I started this, I had built a community. I had people reaching out saying that my work and my posts and everything was helping them, but I wasn't making enough money to be able to quit my job, right? And so again, I invested in a course in myself, and I was so afraid. I remember my finger literally shaking before I made that investment. And now looking back, that investment is one of the best decisions that I ever made, because again, I had so much fear. I had no proof that anything was going to ever work out for me. I had no proof that anyone was ever going to watch any of my Instagram stories or like subscribe to my membership site or whatever it was. I had no proof, but I told myself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work. And I had absolute faith in myself, even though I was fearful, even though I was shy, even though I was scared, even though I had no proof that it would work out. And so like every single time that I make a big investment in myself, it always comes back tenfold, because what I do is I channel that fear into excitement. I channel that fear into like, look, I'm getting outside of my comfort zone. I'm defying, my past. I'm defying that story that I always told myself. I'm creating that person who it is that I want to be. And I ask myself, the person who it is that I want to be. So when I want to become a coach, right? I ask myself, well, the person who has the successful coaching business, who inspires people around the world, who has international clients, who has the freedom to travel and creates abundance, what kind of person is she? How does she show up? What knowledge does she have, right? What resources does she have? And what I did was I did everything that I could, everything in my power to get that. And a huge thing, especially if you want to become a coach, is getting the knowledge. So that's why I made that big first investment in that course. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions that I've made. And every single time I've made a huge investment, it's always come back. So if you're in that position right now, you're thinking that you want to make a big investment in yourself, but you're feeling fearful. You know that it's the right thing for you to do. You know that you need this to get to that next level, but you're feeling scared. I want to share with you a few tips that helped me. And the big thing is like, really, money is a tool, right? And so if there's a certain experience that you want to have, whether it's a course, whether it's a trip, whether it's a conference, whether it's, something that's really important to you that you think is going to get you to that next level, money is a tool that you use to have those things, right? At the end of your life, when you're 60, are you going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I saved, $4,000 when I was 25? Or are you going to be so happy when you look back on the memories and you say, I went on that trip, I did that thing, I went to meet that person, I took that course, whatever it is, right? So really how I look at it is like, what is the experience that I want to have? Now, if your experience right now is saving for a house, then maybe you want to save, right? But if you look at it, and one of the things I'm going to share with you right now is the law of compensation, you also want to ask yourself, are you going to be able to save for that house quicker by saving the money that you're making at maybe a $15, $20 an hour job? Or are you going to make the money faster if you're wanting to start a business, if you start a business where you essentially have unlimited income potential, right? And that was essentially the choice for me. And one of the things that really helped me create faith in myself of starting a business is the law of compensation, which is one of the universal laws, which I'm going to share with you, because for manifesting money, it's something that definitely works. But for me, I like having like solid proof. And back when I was first starting out and I didn't have a lot of self-esteem, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence, I was fearful, I needed something that I knew for sure would work. And the universal laws, it's like the law of gravity, right? If you pick something up, it will fall. And that's how the universal laws work as well. So if you're coming in right now, say hi, let me know that you're here, let me know that you're watching. Courtney is saying, you are so right, I definitely need this. Yeah, I just got this inspiration to talk about this today as I was coming back from my haircut. You guys like my new hair? I didn't even realize how much I needed a haircut until I got it cut. And I was like, wow, Stuart, that's my hairstylist. I was like, wow, it looks so much better. I feel like a new woman. Okay, so point number one, the thing that helped me create faith in myself, hi, thank you. The thing that helped me really create faith in myself and making a big investment is looking at how much it would be worth it for me, right? So a lot of the times I'd be making an investment in my business, right? And so I would tell myself, I'll make it back. I'm going to take the things that I learned, I'm going to take this guidance, and I'm going to use it and implement it to get to that next level, to create more joy in people's lives, to create more happiness in people's lives, to solve the problem of the people whose problem I solve. I thought that was really, really important to, when I go into it, know how I'm going to use it, know how I'm going to really, really make use of it and see how I'm going to essentially create more income in my life, right? So I was constantly telling myself, I'll make it back, I'll make it back, I'll make it back. And having that affirmation, saying it over and over again, it goes into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind essentially is looking to fulfill whatever it is that you're focusing on. So if you're focusing on the good things, you're focusing on looking for ideas that are going to help you create more income or help you, reach a certain goal or whatever it is, if that's what your focus is, you have a picture of it burned into your mind of exactly what it is that you want, and you feel like you can have it, your subconscious mind is going to be working for you around the clock when you're sleeping, when you're traveling, when you're working, whatever it is, to be scanning everything that you're doing and looking for answers, looking for the right people that you can ask the right questions to, right? Looking for the right ideas. And so when you're focused on exactly what you want and you're telling yourself, I'm going to make it worth it, I'm going to make it back, money is a tool, right? And focusing on what it is that you want to create from this, right? Like, what do you want to create? What do you want to have on the other side once you have that? If you focus in on that, you can put your subconscious mind to work to help you fill in the blanks, and it's so much easier, right? If the big investment is maybe travel, it's like, ask yourself, like, how is it going to be valuable to you? How is it going to help you? How is it going to enrich your life? And remember, like, this is your life. Like, you're here to have a really powerful and fulfilling experience, right? And I think so many people cling on to just like little things. They cling on to scarcity. And one thing that I really want to remind you is that the universe is abundant and there's unlimited resource. There's unlimited of anything and everything that you want. You just have to be open to looking for it and asking for it, right? You have to ask, and not ask like, please, can I have it? But ask like, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve to live a good life, because you do. I deserve to have the things that I want. And remember that you're a powerful being and you can command whatever it is that you want. And the universe will open up to you and deliver that to you, right? So that's the first thing. Also, another big thing to remember is that there's something that's going to happen every time you get outside of your comfort zone, which is the terror barrier. I learned that from Bob Proctor. And it's so funny because the first time it hit me, it was like huge anxiety attack, like so much fear going all through my body, feeling unsure about myself, feeling nervous about myself. And now when I hit that terror barrier, because I still do, now when I hit those areas of fear where I'm getting outside of my comfort zone, I'm making a big investment, I'm needing to come up with an answer for something that I've never done before. Now when I hit it, I laugh, because I know, I'm like, okay, I've been here before, right? It's like, I know that feeling of anxiety wants to attack my body and wants to keep me small and wants to keep me doing the same things that I've always done and wants to make me subscribe to the old stories that I always have. And I say, no, I'm like, even though your body can only handle so much, your body is just this little like package that you're using while you're here on this earth. But your soul is expansive and your energy vibrates off of your body every single place that you go. And essentially our thoughts are sending out a radio signal and then our hearts with our energy is attracting it right to us. You want, and you're sending out a radio signal of exactly what you want. And when you're feeling those good feelings, what you'll do is you'll actually magnetize those things right back to you. So that's why it's so important to focus on exactly what you want. And so whenever my body has that emotional response of like, oh my gosh, can I do this? So much fear, I remember that fear is just because our human bodies are just designed to keep us in survival mode. They're designed to keep us safe because they're so like made old. They're from a world where, if you left your tribe, if you did something different than what everyone else around you was doing, then you could potentially get attacked by a bear or a lion, and essentially leaving the tribe meant death. And that's imprinted into your subconscious. And that's why when you do something outside of your comfort zone, your body's emotional response is fear and anxiety and keeping you small because it thinks that it's keeping you safe. But we live in a world where if you leave your old tribe, so if you leave those old people from high school that don't make you feel very good when you hang out with them, or you leave those old people at your job who just keep doing the same thing over and over again when you know you're meant for something more, guess what? You're not going to get attacked by a bear or a lion unless I don't know where you live, but where I live, you're not going to get attacked by a bear or a lion. And what's actually going to happen is you'll actually open up that space. So and I'm not saying like leave friends behind or anything like that, but leave yourself open to opportunity. What happens is the universe likes to fill up a vacuum. So when you create space for what you want, right, you open yourself up to the possibilities by getting outside of your comfort zone. So for me at one point, it was quitting my job, right? For me at one point, it was making a big investment in myself. For me at one point, it was kind of not going out as much on weekends and focusing kind of more on what I wanted to do or spending more time with people who resonate at the energy that I wanted to resonate at. When I made that space, the universe filled it up with things that were at my new higher vibrational level. Okay, I hope that made sense. Give me some hearts if that makes sense, or comment below if you're following and that makes sense. But essentially, when you feel that body emotional response of like, oh my God, oh shit, what's going on? Like, anxiety, fear, all those things. I want you to realize that body response has nothing to do with your potential, nothing at all. That voice in your head that says you can't do it has nothing to do with what you can or can't do. You think your thoughts, you are the thinker of your thoughts, but you are not your thoughts, okay? So for me, when I was first starting out and I had this goal to become a coach, right? When a thought would come into my head that says, you'll never be a good coach or speaker, no one will ever listen to you. When that thought came in, I didn't think that's my truth because I was learning about personal development. I was learning about my mind. When I understood this, when my thought, Courtney says her best friend, when that thought came into my head, I recognized that I'm not my thoughts. I'm a thinker of my thoughts. And so what I did was I would just observe that thought, so just pretend it's my thought, and I look at that thought and I would say, will this thought, that I'm not a good speaker, will this thought get me to that goal that it is that I want to be? And if the answer was no, then I would just push it to the side because I don't need to think that thought. That thought is not in alignment with where I want to be. And so what I would do, this is what I would do, and this worked really well for me. It might work different for everyone else. This worked really well for me, is I would ask myself, okay, now what is the opposite of that thought? And then I would make it greater. So if something is telling me I wouldn't be a good coach or a good speaker, I'd say, what's the opposite of thought? I'm going to be a great speaker. And then I would expand on it. So I'd say, you know what? I'm going to be a great speaker because I've been through a lot and I have a great story to share. And there's a lot of people out there who need to hear the story, and they need to hear it from someone like me, because people with this kind of story, women, are not women who, lived in abusive households and that kind of thing, have not been represented enough. And if I don't see that role model that I want to see, or I don't see that example that I want to see, then I'm going to create it. I'm going to fill in that space, right? So when that thought would come in that was negative, that didn't align, that didn't seem like a stepping stone to where I was going to be, I literally would push it away and I would replace it with a thought that actually served me, okay? So I went on a little bit of a tangent there. I have to have at least one tangent per live stream. So that was that. I'm going to stick to the script now. So point number 2, how to have faith in yourself while making a big investment, is to understand the laws of the universe. You can look up online, there are universal laws. And one of the ones that I want to talk to you about today is, I kind of want to talk about law of cause and effect, right? So whatever you create creates an effect. For every reaction, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So if you're constantly telling yourself you can't do it, you can't stretch outside your comfort zone, you can't learn more, whatever it is, you can't go where you want, then the reaction is going to be more of that thing, right? But if your actions are expansive, I'm going to learn more, I'm going to take more risks, I'm going to see what I can do, I'm going to have faith in myself, you're going to create an equal and opposite reaction. And the universe is going to provide to you the evidence of the, thought that you're putting out, right? You're going to put out the thought and the belief, and the universe is going to provide to you the physical evidence, okay? Now, the one that I want to talk to you about today is the law of compensation. So the law of compensation is the law of sowing and reaping. So back in the day, if you were a farmer, would you expect for your crop to grow if you didn't put seeds in the ground? No. So the farmers would have to put seeds in the ground. And then, I don't even know how long it takes a crop to grow. 6 months later? I don't know. 6 months later, Talia's here. She's like, we love your tangents. She's in my Yes Supply Method program. So she gets regular tangents from me. So if you were a farmer, would you expect your crops to grow if you didn't put a seed in the ground? No. So what I thought when I was making big investments is, okay, well, what's the outcome that I want? And again, for me, it was growing a coaching business. Well, if I want to grow this coaching business, I have to plant some seeds, right? I have to do some sowing, right? Before I can do that reaping, right? That's how nature works, right? You plant the seed and then you nurture it and then it grows. It's just a matter of fact, right? There's law of gender, law of gestation. They're the time of gestation. And so essentially, the law of compensation states that the amount of money or good that you receive will be in direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. I learned this from Bob Proctor, my favorite. And so, if you learned your job from a manual and at a grocery store or in a retail store, and you learned it from the same manual that 1,000 other people are learning from, then no offense, I used to work in retail, but no offense, there's really no difficulty in replacing you because they can just give someone else the manual and somebody else can read it. And the need for what you do also lessens because thousands of people can do that same job, right? And your ability to do it. If you become the best person at the grocery store or the best, retail person, you will get paid more. I did see that because I actually grew in the retail company and I started to make pretty good money. But there's so much more potential the more unique you get. So again, that's why I'm such a proponent of having your own business, because the need for what you do, you can actually cater to your clientele and provide something that they really have a need for. And your ability to do it grows the more that you invest in yourself, right? And then the difficulty there is in replacing you, again, the more you grow, the more you learn, the more you practice, the more you implement, who's going to replace you, right? So remember this, the law of compensation states that the amount of money or good that you receive will be a direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So if you're wanting to make an investment in yourself and you know that you're going to help people and you know that you're going to grow, and you don't just want to putter around and kind of do it, but you want to become a master. You want to speak on stages. You want to make a massive impact, then you're not going to have to worry because you're going to provide so much value. Of course, people are going to sign up for it, right? Or of course, people are going to invest in you and you'll be able to make that back, right? Again, one other little mini tangent I want to add is you want to make sure that if you do start a business, you are opening yourself up to receiving. I see a lot of people in this industry, coaches, etc., who have, podcasts, Instagram, all these other things, and they forget to actually create a product or a program. So then they actually have no way of receiving money. And if you're putting out amazing value through your podcast or your Instagram quotes, whatever it is, create a program so you can actually make that money back and actually serve people on a deeper level. And that's one of the things that I teach in Yes Dream Clients, which is closed right now to the public, but I'm releasing it privately to my Yes Supply Method coaching students. And we're doing our first session tomorrow at 10 a.m., which I'm super excited. Thank you, Aaliyah, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Now, point number 3 is that I really look at money as a tool to create the experiences that I want in my life and a tool to serve more. So as I'm earning more in my business, for example, I invest in a team, right? I have an assistant, I have a customer service person, I have, team helping me with my marketing, right? Because for me, why I started this is because I feel like I have a story to share. And I know that when I create content, I get messages and emails and comments and so many things from people who are saying that what I'm putting out is helping them. And so I, in my business, don't try to be a jack of all trades. I don't try to do what feels really good to me and what allows me to feel like I'm serving my purpose. And so I look at what I'm earning as a tool so that I can actually do more of what it is that I feel like I'm meant to do in this world. And even before I knew that I could do this, even before I knew what being a coach was, I had this pull inside of me saying, you need to share your story, you need to motivate people, you need to inspire people. I didn't know why I was getting this message or this intuition that was what I meant to do, but I'm so happy that I took leaps and I did things even though I didn't know why I was doing them, because it felt like the right thing to do. It felt like good to me, right? And so whether it's investing in a mentor or going on a trip that you think will be fulfilling to you, and I'm doing that thing that powerful speakers do. I'm not doing that on purpose. But whatever it is, remember that you only live once, and I do think it's important to be smart with your money and make investments, but I also want to remind you that money is abundant, and if you're willing to give value and you're willing to serve and you're willing to essentially be a vibrational match to abundance, you can just attract that back into your life. So it's moving from the scarcity mindset, thinking that there's not enough, to moving to the abundance mindset, to recognizing that there is more than enough, that there's more money being printed every day. And actually money used to be tied to gold. Now money is no longer tied to gold. So they just keep printing money every day, but it's not necessarily tied to anything significant. And it's actually impossible for all the people out there to pay back debt. So it's just an interesting thing that I talk about when I talk to my clients about money. It's actually impossible for everybody who's in debt to pay back their debt, because the interest on all of the debt has far surpassed the amount of actual money that is out there, if that makes sense. So just say, for example, you have $10 on your credit card, but then there's interest, and so it's $10.19. That 19 cents is made up. So like it's money is really, and I'll talk about this in another video because it's a whole other thing, but money is actually essentially because everybody agrees on a certain value. And so if you want to be able to attract more money and you want to be able to bring in more money to your life, all you need to do is be able to add value, if that makes sense, okay? But I'll talk about that in another video. So anyway, money is a tool to create experiences. And so look at it like that. And if the experience is really important to you and you know that it's going to be valuable to you, then it doesn't make sense to just scrimp. It makes sense to be expansive and allow it to flow and allow it to be a channel, and trust that when you put it out there with good feelings of putting it out there, it will come back to you in magical ways that you can't expect, because the whole entire universe fluctuates and moves around like an organism, right? So just like my lung doesn't compete with my hand does the thing that my hand does, my lung does the thing that my lung does, you have to trust that you are a part of the greater whole. And so when you invest, you put maybe money into the economy, into somebody else who has worked really hard on their product or service or whatever it is, and that's flowing. And then when you open yourself up to receiving, that's why I say you need to make sure that you open yourself up to receiving in some way by creating a product or a service or a program or whatever it is. And that's why that's one of the really important things that I teach in the Yes Supply method. You open yourself up to receiving it, and then you allow it to flow. And so when people are talking about creating flow and ease in your life, that's how you want it to flow, almost like a river, okay? So hopefully this was helpful for you. I meant for it to be like 2 minutes, and here we go, going on 26 minutes. I always have a lot to say. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions on anything that I just talked about, you have any questions on the Yes Supply method, if you've been thinking about becoming certified as a coach, going deeper and understanding mindset, how the subconscious mind works, how to manifest what you want, how to create a business by helping people and sharing what you love to talk about, then definitely send me and my team a DM in Instagram, or you can head to my page at yessupply.co/certified and learn more about the program. And you can actually book a call right there too. So Tashara is saying thanks for sharing. Q-Storm is saying very helpful. Thank you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for your comments, Courtney. And I'm going to be doing a lot more lives and videos, so make sure to follow me on YouTube. You can search Yes Supply on YouTube, and then turn on Instagram notifications so you know when I go live next. But it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks for all your comments, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just let me know. Bye, everyone.